Wednesday, and thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome to In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. I'm here to keep you posted on all things business finance. And of course, I know who you're real excited to see. You're excited to see my co host, amazing friend here, Greg Nibbler, who's going to keep us on top of all things tech. Greg, I feel like there's so much going on with the world of tech right now. I almost want to jump to your segment just to hear what you have to say because I kind of know what you're gonna
Yeah,
cover. So
it is a crazy week right now, and things are happening like right now. That's why I was just looking at my phone, trying to stay up to date with everything because there is a lot happening this week, and I think it's going to be a good discussion. I'm excited to talk about that. And hi, everybody, I'm Greg Nibbler. In case you don't know, longtime tech reporter covering everything on that side of things. Great to see everyone joining back in here on the Loop. It's always so much fun doing this show, of course, with Winnie and then all of you joining us just to talk about, the big things that are going on and get your opinions, whether you like something, whether you don't, your questions, whatever it is. And I feel like there's a lot of discussion that we're going to have today because AI is everywhere now. And that's, of course, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about. But there's so much that's happened in the last couple of days that I feel like maybe a little refresher, a little understanding of what's going on, and then get your opinions. We'll give our opinions. So a lot of fun stuff coming up on that here in just a little bit. But Winnie, I do think we have to know what's going on in finances, to start off here.
Thank you, Greg. I feel like we should do that too. Yeah, because hello, friends. I see Joshua joining us, CrossX Spider joining us on YouTube Live. Many friends actually on all the different platforms. And as a reminder, we're actually streaming, I think, on about 12 different social media platforms today, which makes it really fun. So definitely don't be shy. Jump in. Let us know how you're doing or comments as we go through today's stream. For those who are new to me, I am Winnie Sun, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member and Forbes contributor. And like Greg, we started this show based on friendship and we came together and we want to keep you on top of all these things, right? So what I want to do is first start off and talk about how the market closed. Unfortunately, triple down day today wasn't so good. We've been having some good weeks, right, in 2023. But today wasn't one of them. So Dow closed down 207 points. NASDAQ also down 203. Ouch. And the S&P 500 down 46 as well today. And one thing that actually was just breaking news actually occurred within the last hour of us coming live today. And this was actually something I posted on not Disney, on LinkedIn right before we jumped in. And that is on Disney. Disney has just announced that they're being cutting about 7,000 jobs as well. And this was breaking news, came out from CNBC amongst many other platforms, just saying, that they have to do some reshuffling to make sure their business continues to be sound going into this year. Now, this comes at the heels of Zoom disclosing cuts yesterday, about 15%. eBay also yesterday talking about cuts as well. Unfortunately, it seems like there's been a lot of cuts this year. And if you haven't been following the news, there are a lot of different websites that track this. From what I've been seeing, in just the five or 6 weeks that we've had so far of 2023, we're making up over 60 plus percent of the layoffs that occurred in all of 2022. So will 2023 end up being the year of the layoff? We'll have to wait and see. But I will tell you, a lot of people have been asking me about what they should be doing when they find out they get laid off. Because so often, people are just caught off guard. They actually didn't expect to be laid off. And so first things first, I want to share with you, understand that timing is super critical. If you find out you're getting laid off or transitioned away or whatnot, however they call it, you got to move pretty quickly. So those steps, if you're wondering, I actually included a few of those steps on LinkedIn today as a post, but I also have a more detailed post on Forbes. So definitely check that out. But basically what I would say is within the first week of finding out, you got to get moving. Okay. So that's that. But the other thing I want to move over to talk about is this. And this was a study that came out of Gallup. Gallup asked the questions beginning actually in 1976, kind of asking people how they felt about the economy, how they felt about their personal finance. And interesting enough, this year seems like, I wish it was starting off a better year, but in fact, half of the United States that were surveyed said that they feel like they're worse off in the economy. They just feel like things are not going the right direction financially. They're not feeling good. So over 50% said that they feel that they're worse off right now than they were previously. Only 35% of those surveys said that they feel like things were actually getting better. So we're kind of curious, Greg, like, I mean, we talked about obviously Disney doing layoffs, and we're talking about changes and how you feel about the economy. How do you feel? Because honestly, I was feeling pretty positive until I was reading this article.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of all the tech layoffs. I mean, I'll be honest, that's a pretty, that it seems to just be continuing. That's going to be something that's going to be spiraling for a while. So I feel really bad for everybody getting laid off. I try to be optimistic about things, and hope that things are going to turn around. It's the beginning of the year. Maybe there's still some stuff on the way that's going to kind of change things around. So that's kind of where I guess I just try to hope that it's going to be all right and prepare for it not being, and just kind of try to find and strike that balance, I suppose, in between everything. You mentioned the Disney layoffs. I did see that Disney Plus actually lost subscribers too over the last few months. So I wonder if somehow that may factor in there a little bit as well. But yeah, it's definitely tumultuous times,
Yeah, it's a challenging time. And one
Yeah.
thing that, that came from the Zoom announcement yesterday, I think is important to remember too, is that some of these companies got, I think, a little too overzealous and they sort of hired too quickly during the pandemic and whatnot, trying to
Yeah.
like grab subscribership, grabbing more people, grabbing more users for the sake of Zoom, right? And so they've now just found themselves to have too many hires. And now with what I know you're going to talk about soon about AI and technology and just now companies are feeling that pressure to show good revenues. And so they had to make those difficult changes. So one thing I thought, Greg, that I would do, and I know I kind of like teased it in the beginning of Disney, I didn't give you all the information. Not that I didn't want to, but there's just so much I figure you need to spend some time if you're actually getting laid off to do that research. But let's say you haven't got laid off or you're feeling sort of depressed about your personal finances. What are some things that you can do? And I thought I would leave you with some actually four things that you can do right off the bat now, this week, this month, to set yourself up with a little bit more stability for the rest of 2023. So, first things first, many of you know it's about 70 days, more or less, until your tax filing deadline. Now, for those of you who are looking back at 2022, last year, and like, I didn't save as much as I wanted to. Maybe I didn't make that goal. One thing to remember is that you can actually still fund your 2022 Roth IRA or IRA if you haven't done so yet. You can do that until the tax filing deadline. And this year, the tax filing deadline is on April 18th. So if you haven't done it and you can, okay, when I say you can, I mean you shouldn't have credit card debt, right? You shouldn't have like really big overlaying debt because that doesn't make sense. But to then save. But if you don't have debt, consider doing it and just do it. And go ahead and put away money for 2022 and keep it there for your future retirement needs. The other thing you want to do is you want to set aside some money into your emergency fund now. Okay. If you have a little bit extra savings in your checking account or savings account that you're not really using, I would suggest moving it into another account. Have a new account set up with a new title that's titled emergency fund. Okay. And for those of you who have a stable job and who don't think they're going to get laid off, right? Like your position is pretty secure. Maybe you even own your own business. You just know your managers or your company couldn't live without you. Well, you could even consider using the Roth IRA as your dual savings for retirement as well as an emergency fund because the contributions that you put into a Roth IRA, you can take out at any time for any reason without penalties or taxes. So more than likely, if you have that stable job, you won't have to touch it. So that'll be great. You can save it towards retirement. It can kind of serve as both if you don't have enough money to do like emergency fund and retirement savings. Okay. So those are some things that I think those are some things that I would definitely do. The third one, of course, is to try to save a little bit every month. Even if it's like $25 or $30, every little bit helps. Put it into something that hopefully gives you better growth than your checking account or savings account, right? I saw a quote this week actually that said that um, nobody um, who nobody made it rich by keeping all their money in a checking account or savings account. And I thought that was pretty true. But so something to think about. And then, the last thing is just to focus less on spending, because the less you spend, the more you earn. And that thinks I thought of another quote that I heard recently that said, when you see something or you see someone that has very expensive things, maybe a really expensive car, or really expensive, I don't know, fill in the blank, right? That also means that that person parted with money parted with a lot of money to be able to purchase that item. And therefore, that money they no longer own and they can no longer earn on that money. So food for thought, right? The next time you see something or someone with really nice things, maybe you should be so envious and be like, oh, I feel bad. You have like less money because you bought that thing and it's in that and it's no longer in your wallet. But some things to think about. And I go, Greg, I'm going to segue to this because you had mentioned this earlier about Disney subscribership challenging anyway. Much, Disney obviously having to make some changes, subscribership to Disney Plus, and we talked about Netflix not too long ago. But interesting, the news that came out today was that the New York Times Digital has gained over 1 million digital subscribers. This was actually shared on many platforms. New York Times actually talked about this sort of trending story that's being shared on LinkedIn News. And I had this thinking, or obviously great content. If you subscribe to the New York Times, they also have great recipes, by the way, in their cooking section. But what I was thinking, I actually think part of this was because they signed a partnership deal with American Express. And for those of you who own an American Express Platinum card, you actually get like a digital per diem, if you will, of like $20 a month. And you're limited to a few different companies that you can use this like $20 that the credit card company gives you. And one of them is the New York Times. And so I suspect a lot of that, some of those, those millions of subscribers came from that. So I mean, over 1 million. So yeah, so I think that these partnership deals are really, really smart for businesses. And I think we're going to need to see more of them where it's not maybe an exact match. Like you wouldn't necessarily think New York Times, American Express would be a complete match, but using their collaborative client base and creating that partnership, I think we need to see more of that in business. It's going to be interesting to see how that unveils. But that's what I got. That's all I have for this week, Craig.
I mean, that's good. I mean, I think just seeing any kind of an online digital publication getting more subscribers too is good. So yeah, that may be the route to go. I think that's really interesting, that partnership right there, to see how that's going to work. Okay. So I do have all this stuff to talk about what's going on over these last couple of days with AI. So if we want to just jump right into it, I can kind of give a little bit of a background here. So if everybody's been following along with this, and Winnie, I'm sure you have been, when it comes to the AI side of things, but we all know that that's not a new word. We've been bringing that up in so many different ways. We've seen so many different advancements just even in the last few months. The trends, we saw all the one where we had the manipulated like face images to turn you into a painting from like the 1500s or whatever. I showed those before, but now we're seeing some more actual real life applications of it, and that is in the form of how we search things online and how that's going to change. And it is changing quickly. So Microsoft had already, and we'll kind of do Microsoft, go to Google, go back to Microsoft. But Microsoft, very publicly, has been investing in OpenAI, who makes ChatGPT, which is one of the AI programs that a lot of people have been utilizing for different things. They invested $10 billion there. They're very much into that. We're going to come back to Microsoft. So that was already happening. Google this week, and there's been all kinds of reports that behind the scenes, they were scrambling because they saw that Microsoft was really into this and they want to get their own AI out there. And they've been working on this. They're in the background, this one called Lambda and all of that. Well, now they announced yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before, that they were introducing Bard. So Bard is their kind of version of that. This is their AI that they're going to use and integrate into their search functionality to where you will be able to do this. So the whole concept behind it for all of this, for adding AI into search, is to make it so it's much more robust. It gives you summarizations. It gives you, it pulls information from a bunch of different sources. You can ask really complex questions and get answers to it. That's just part of it, utilizing the AI. So it's going to change a lot. Like some of the examples are, you could say, instead of, searching for vacation spots in Mexico, you could say, hey, I would like a 5-day trip to Mexico between this time and this time. Plan a trip for me. And it will plan it all out. It'll bring you, your hotel, your airline, your everything. If it's within your budget, you can even have it just buy it for you in theory. So you're just going to be able to get a lot of information quickly. One thing with Bard, this is again Google's version. They put it out into a handful of people are able to try it out now. It's not rolled out for everybody. However, the demonstration that they had, this is something you may not have seen, had a wrong answer in it. So the demo question was proposed is just to summarize it. It was basically, what are the newest developments from the James Webb telescope that I could tell a 9-year-old or something along those lines. So, and what it did is it summarized, like, this is what it is. Boom, boom, boom. Gave you these nice, concise answers. It was wrong though on it said that the James Webb telescope had taken the first picture of an exoplanet. That happened in 2004 with a completely, it was completely wrong. And so not the best rollout for Google of their AI assistant to just have the wrong answer on the demo that they're showing. Kind of a bad look.
Ouch. No wonder. Like, I saw this trending on, like, people basically bash Google's Bard because of that. I saw that in multiple publications too, Greg.
Yeah. And I saw that it affected some stocks. And I mean, so I guess they must have had a human actually double checking the AI facts.
That would have been helpful.
Yeah, probably at least for the demo you're rolling out, probably would have helped. But, so we'll see. I'm sure they'll be working on that to get that taken care of and handling the PR on that. But beyond that, though, I mean, this whole idea of changing up how we search and using AI for it, I think it's going to take a while for people to really wrap their heads around it once you start using it. But this is a huge, I mean, I'm saying, I think this, and I think a lot of people think this is a huge moment in tech. I mean, this is going to affect everything that we do online. I mean, it's that big of a shift that we're kind of undergoing right now. I saw somebody say it's as big a shift as when we got touch screens, or, a fundamental change in how we interact. And that's where we're going with this. So it may not seem like a lot right now because there's just so much, kind of coming out there. It's like, what does this all mean? It's going to mean a lot.
It's going to mean a lot. Yeah. I agree with you 100%, Greg. I think, we're right now, you're seeing so much buzz because of ChatGPT, right? Everybody's using it, trying it, having fun, talking about, that you can write essays for your professor and whatnot, things like that. But if you sit back and you think about, like, Greg, you've been talking about AI and technology for years, I know. But if you, like the regular person like myself, sits back to think about this for a moment, right? Aside from just the AI factor, think about, like, what it's able to do. ChatGPT right now is able to write computer code. It's write paragraphs, and it's able to write tweets, answer questions. And yes, right now, us as humans, we need to go in and fix that information. Just like Google Bard, if you type in certain, like I've tested this out, typing in certain questions, like financial questions into ChatGPT, the answer that comes out is like partially correct. I would say like maybe 60 to 70% correct, but definitely not enough that, like someone could use this information. But imagine how many people would have their jobs at risk with just that even 60 to 70%, right? So it's kind of incredible. And I feel like maybe right now it's sort of a novelty, but as mankind, as humans, as, workforce people that receive payroll, we should be paying attention to this. And we should be finding clues of to making sure that we still not only are sustainable, but we have income sustainability too. So I think that, there's a lot to be following, and I'm really great. I'm glad, Greg, you're bringing it to our attention and teaching us more about it.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and like I said, even right when we were starting the show, there's more information coming out. I mean, it's changing, and it's changing fast. It's happening really fast. And I guess you probably could have predicted that, but the fact that it's rolling out, and here's another thing. So this is another reason that this is happening fast too, is the competition between Google and Microsoft. It's worried Google enough that they rushed that out and even put something out incorrect because they were trying to hurry, because they see this looming threat for their search power from Microsoft. And that's so let's kind of go to the other side too, and then talk about some bigger questions on this. So Microsoft, like I said, ChatGPT. So their main company, their parent company is OpenAI, or that's the company that created ChatGPT. So Microsoft heavily involved with them. They're going to be the exclusive partner for cloud-based infrastructure with them, and they are rolling out their search for Bing. So Bing, their search engine. Let's be honest, not a lot of people use Bing, but that could be changing with this stuff that they've got right here. I mean, it's a very, very smart investment, and it's out there right now. You can look at examples, and that's what we have right here. So these are some examples of things you could search for. So just like that, I need to throw a dinner party for 6 people who are vegetarian. Can you suggest a 3-course menu with a chocolate dessert? Like, that's a complicated question. Right now, you wouldn't get a lot. You may get to some website, but if you do that on there with their AI brought in, look out, if you see over there on the right-hand side, boom, it's got recipes, it's got the links, it's got everything that you would need right there, and you can just have it all perfectly placed for you.
So much easier. Such
so
a
much
time
easier.
saver.
Yeah. And that's why I mean, like, I think once people start trying this, at least as far as how this is going to change how we search things, that's just one example. They have a few on there, but asking those really complex questions that normally would probably require an actual human to give you that complex of an answer, and they wouldn't be able to do it that fast, of course. So that's where we're going with it. And it's also going to be personalized. It can learn about you. There's a debate of whether that's good or not, but that's, whether you want that, but that's where it's kind of going. So yeah, this is one for, there's an example. Yeah, wanting to go to London, and here's all your examples, and here's some different things you can do. And yeah, it's going to be, I mean, it's just going to be, I think, a while. Like, people are going to have to really start trying it to really get used to it, but it's happening very, very quickly. And
it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, so this is some of the examples that Bing has, and then I think they're going to be rolling out probably pretty soon for much more complex things that everybody will be able to do. Google sounds like they're a little bit further off, based on, they've got to recover from their example, but they're a little bit further out. Still, Google's by far, far, far and large, of course, the biggest search engine. So I don't know if Google's not probably worried that they're going to go away, but Bing is coming on. I saw they had their downloads. It was like exponential numbers, more numbers of downloads than they've had forever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of just a general summation of what's going on right now with AI and what it means for search. And
this is incredible. I mean,
yeah.
I know, Greg, you and I both do search all the time because we're preparing notes for our show and our other projects that we're working on. I even have someone on my team that is actually has been for years. Her job is to prepare notes for me and find all this data for me. And literally now, with some of these AI tools, I can get notes in like minutes, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the one of the things that, for those of you who have used the tool, you may know, like ChatGPT, that the content is only up to 2021. So it's not like right, like breaking news, like what Greg and I can talk about yet, but that'll change. And just like he said, he said it's happening so quickly right before our eyes. It's really, we really have to continue to think about this. How can we continue to stay on top of this? Obviously, we want to learn the technology, but how can we continue to stay relevant because of the volume of competition that these tools will bring to? It will be, the survival of the fittest and the most capable, and your skill set. We need to continue to up our game too, to be able to do this. Soon, Greg, it'll be like AI versions of us doing this.
I know. That's what I was thinking about too. I mean, there's already so many companies that are out there now that have AI, like digital spokespeople or spokesperson that you can get, and you can hire them. You can create them however you want them to look, and they look pretty real. And they're all just complete digital things. There's this one company that is doing it for training videos or any kind of company-wide announcements where they have this AI, and that's the person that they do, and they just program it in to say whatever they want. I mean, that's a job I've done before, so that's not something that I'm going to be getting if that continues. So it's just I think the thing is, it's happening so quick. It's important to stay up on it, and because, like
Mhm.
you mentioned, Winnie, I mean, like it's going to affect so much. It's just, what is it going to take away? What is it
Yeah.
adding? What is it taking away? Because it's happening regardless.
It's happening regardless. And
Yeah.
I saw an article on Business Insider that talked about like the jobs that are most at risk because of AI. And the number one, which I thought was so fascinating, because you and I both know this. Like if you talk to like a college, or you talk to an admissions officer, you talk about a person who's about to go to college, you ask them what do they want to major on, what do they want to study. Most people would agree that STEM is the area to be in, right? Everybody's talking STEM about programming, computer scientists and whatnot,
Yeah.
cyber security stuff. And they were saying AI can just pretty much duplicate those. That's like the number one most at risk profession
Yeah.
by AI. And just imagine people who have spent their livelihood becoming experts at writing code. Like
Right.
literally, I tried this in ChatGPT. I was like, write some code for my website, but literally, I
Yeah.
didn't even finish hitting send, and all of a sudden, this code commit came out. Of course, I didn't know what it said, but it was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it maybe something was off in it. I don't know, but it's, like you mentioned with the financial advice, perhaps that was.
67% good enough. I mean, yeah, if you
Yeah.
have someone who knows their stuff, like, right, with the experience,
Yeah.
like, 20 plus years of financial experience, you can, take that and then build off of it. It still saves you hours of time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah. And that's just a great way to look at it too. Is just, look at the advantages that you can get from it. What can you glean from it? And yeah, it's so anyway, that's why I just want to emphasize again for everyone. It may seem like a lot of noise, like whatever, it's a fad. It's not. I mean, this is the real deal. And
Wow.
it's gonna change a lot. We're just at the very, very beginning of it. Even all the stuff that we've seen, even this, like, little monumental shift, I guess, not a little, but a monumental shift in how we search, which is still coming. You'll get to see it here more over the next, I would say, it's not years, it's weeks or months, that this is how quick this is changing. And then from there, where does it go? There's so much more that's going to be on the way, but we're entering the age of AI is essentially it.
Wow. Remember,
It's,
Greg, when the first time when we heard about the internet, the first time, I don't even know what it
yeah.
was, or the first time we heard about like social, like when
Mm-hmm.
MySpace was started, like all these things that were just starting, this just feels like that with
It's
ChatGPT,
that big. I think
right?
it's that big.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is going to be one of those like monumental shifts where we're going to look back and we're like, remember back in the day when we thought ChatGPT was cool? Wow. Look
Yeah.
at it now.
Yeah, look at where it's at now. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So anyway, we could talk about it forever, and I know there's a lot on there, but yeah, that's kind of the big thing this week. So I would encourage you to, if you're curious about it, obviously try Chat GPT if you haven't tried it before, or go to the Bing website. There's a whole bar there where you can go through and all those examples and just kind of see and get a feel for where things are going and get a little bit better of an understanding. It's pretty good at showcasing that. And then Google's got some information out there too. But yeah, so you're going to be seeing these changes. They are coming, and they're going to be happening pretty fast. So I do have one other AI thing to talk about, but I did want to take a quick break from AI and just talk about something really fun that I think is cool that's out, because you may have heard about this as well. And it is the biggest selling video game so far of 2023, and it's not even out yet. I think it's out. What's today? The 8th. It's out on Friday. Out on Friday. It is Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter video game. This was the live stream. It broke a record for a single player live stream. There are 1.3 million people watching this demo that came out, and that's a lot of people simultaneously watching a video game demo. But the game itself looks pretty cool. It's all open world, so you can go anywhere in there. You play a student who's going to Hogwarts, and you learn spells and everything associated with being a wizard. And then you can also just go out and explore the entire world that they've created there. The graphics look pretty amazing. I don't know. This looks pretty fun. I kind of want to get this. I take that back. I don't want to get this because that's all I'll do. I don't have time to do this. I know me. I'm like, no, if I get that, there's a lot of things I'm not going to get done. But at some point, I'm definitely going to be trying this out. So you may be hearing a lot about this probably already, but if not, later this week, once everybody starts getting their hands on it. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool.
Okay, Greg. So what platforms are this? Is this PC? What is this on?
This is on everything. So PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox. It's on pretty much everything, and so you can really try it out on all kinds of different platforms. Probably the best experience is probably going to be those higher end ones, like a PS5 or a fully loaded PC or Xbox. But yeah, it's out there. So really, anybody can kind of get their hands on it. There are a couple of ways to get it early. From what I understand, if you buy some of the deluxe editions, there's some higher priced ones that allegedly you're going to be able to get access to the game before everybody else. It's probably like a day before, or maybe you already can. I'm honestly not entirely sure because it comes out in 2 days. But yeah, this, I don't know. It looks pretty fun to me. I'm into it. And I'm not even a big Harry Potter person.
Yeah.
But this looks fun to me.
There's been a lot of Harry Potter controversy lately, but this game looks super fun. But you're right.
Definitely a lot of that. And so just separating from the creators side and just looking at the video game side.
We try not to go there here on this on the In the Loop. But yeah, I think I'm with you, Greg. I feel like if it's too much fun, it just would suck up too much time.
Yeah.
CrossX Fighter says not really a Harry Potter not really a Harry Potter person.
I'm not either, but I still
asking is that this is an adventure game.
Yeah, I think it's a single player game, so you kind of work your way through it. I mean, I guess that could be classified as an adventure, as far as the storyline that you're going through. It's a lot of, I think, going through the different things in the school, and then I would say an adventure game would probably be the right categorization, or what I would put it in. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. So you're going to be seeing about that. You're going to be seeing that a lot. All right. I have one more thing. I feel like I've been talking for hours here. So interrupt me if I keep going. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, this is just kind of an interesting study. And this is bringing back AI, which now is forever the only thing I'll ever talk about. AI and robots, though, and painters. So it's a release from Carnegie Mellon University, where they have partnered with Frida, which is a robotic arm that creates AI paintings. So it actually paints. Ooh. And they're talking about this because they're saying it's not just an AI taking over for an actual artist. It's working in collaboration with artists. Greg sure loves his robots. I know. It's a love kind of scared relationship. But anyway, that one, this is what they're saying, that this is going to basically, these artists can suggest things or give ideas of what they want to see painted. And then the robotic arm will take that, process the knowledge, and then start painting it. You can take pictures along the way. You can kind of redirect it, but it's seeing where that can go, and just kind of the interesting study on that of an AI artist. We've seen some AI artists before, but this is a little bit different in that it's directly collaborating with a human, to where they can choose the paint, they can choose different colors, they can interrupt it. You can describe what you want to see by language, and then they'll paint that. Or you can even show them some images and be like, paint something like this, and then it'll come up with its own thing. So yeah, it's a whole other world there that's kind of starting. So that we're trying out.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think we need to find sort of that happy medium, right? That collaboration with AI. I mean, obviously, like you said, AI is here to stay. It's going to get faster and better. But it can't get to a point where it replaces humans, right? Because essentially, right now, if it was simplest AI, right, it could make paintings in a specific style or whatnot. But how do we differentiate one from the other? Plus, what if one AI learns the way one artist likes to paint, and then it gets hacked, and then someone else uses that same? How do you mitigate these sort of potential issues? I think this is exciting, but maybe we should also be thinking about how we're going to work. I don't know. We're going to have to figure out a way to work with it and still create value. Otherwise, we're all going to sit around and just not have anything to do. Maybe that means we'll have more time to play the Harry Potter game because AI will be doing everything for us.
Sure. That Is this kind of how the Matrix started? But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Ready-made food.
yeah. I mean, it's just, it's an example. I do like the fact that they were kind of trying to emphasize that it's working with, artists. So they're trying it out and figuring out different ways to create art. But yeah, I mean, it's so much that's happening so fast that, like I mentioned before, that it's a lot to kind of stay on top of it and track it all. I think there is no question, though, for myself, just to clarify, the value of actual humans, especially on the artist side of things, music, painting, whatever it is. That to me, there's nothing that can top a human creating that. That you may have like an AI that can create some kind of music that, I mean, we actually just saw that a couple of weeks ago. I think I talked about it on here, but that can create music. It's not going to be the same. It's not the same as a human.
But really, you think?
Well, in my mind, now that doesn't mean that it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for the day. I'm sure many of you feel this way. I'm just waiting for the day where they use all this great technology and they have someone come into the house and clean and cook and do the laundry and do the dishes for you. I mean, why don't we focus on that first?
Yeah.
Right? Instead of like replacing all send us a robot with AI that will do that.
Yes. I want the robot
and then
butler.
leave the rest of us alone in terms of artwork.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with that. Let's concentrate on that stuff first.
Let's do that. Someone that will, cut the lawn and, pull the weeds and plant new growth. Like, do the things that you really don't want to do.
Yes. Like I've mentioned, get a robot that can clean my roof because,
Yes, right? Yeah, and that will I have a roof in that because we had rain and had a roof. Like, there's a leak. Go have a robot go fix the roof, patch it up.
Yeah, it can just be, I've got a lot of trees and it's windy here a lot. So there's always branches falling down.
There you go.
I have a robot that, chucks the branches off my roof. So I don't have to go up there.
And then leave the reporting to us.
Yeah. There we go. No AI, Greg's or Winnie's. We don't want that.
We don't want that.
But there we go. So that's kind of the big things that are going on this week. So just bringing those up and kind of those conversations and, like I said, it's happening. So that's where we're at. But it's always fun talking about it, and seeing feedback and hearing what people, have to say and getting your opinions. And you could write us anytime too. I mean, we're live here right now. Maybe you're watching afterward. You can leave comments, write myself or Winnie. We love hearing from everybody.
Yes. And thank you so much for everybody for tuning in and supporting us. We're so very, very grateful. A huge thank you to CrossX Fighter, Joshua, always being so supportive on YouTube. I saw you yesterday. I apologize. I didn't mention you earlier yesterday. And of course, Sadiq, thank you so much, Sadiq, for joining us on YouTube Live as well. And so many others on all the different platforms. Always a treat to be here with all of you and Greg. And thanks for giving us a purpose. Thanks for not AIing us today. But Greg, I feel like, now that we're sort of at that pivotal point, it'd be really fun to see what other new AI developments you have to share with us going forward, right?
Yeah.
So keep them coming, Greg. We want to hear about robots. We want AI, and I think we need to do this again next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here with us.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Bye-bye.